Hello everyone, this is my first GeoGebra tutorial. This is just the basics for GeoGebra version 4.2. So let's go to what we can see right now. We have one window on the side here. This is called the algebra window, and this will contain all of the algebraic expressions and equations, functions, any points you create, variables, all that stuff will show up over here algebraically. And then visually, it will show up in the graphics window over here. This is the the best part. This is where most of the stuff is going to happen. Then we also at the bottom have an input bar. We can type things in, like let's say I wanted to create a line, y equals 2x plus 1. Just type that in the bottom, hit enter, and it will create it in the graphics window here. And it will also put it into the algebra window over here on the left. And we can access the properties of the object either over here in the algebra window. I could simply double click on it and type the equation if I wanted to change it somehow, or I could right click on it, get object properties from here, or simply right click on it in the graphics window, object properties here. This allows us to change various things. You could show the label if the line had a name that was important. You could show its value. In this case, it will show the equation of the line. In the case of a line segment, it would show its length. You can fix the object so it can't move around. You can change the color, all sorts of style options, change the increment, change the way that the equation is shown, and then some advanced stuff we won't really talk about right now. So in addition to that, now we have at the top a toolbar that has tons of tools. Each of these is kind of categorized with additional tools in a little drop-down menu. One of the most important tools is the move tool. This is the one you want to use when you're selecting objects, moving points around, things like that, because if you try to move a point around and you have a segment tool selected, it's going to try and create a segment. So make sure you have the move tool selected when doing things. Here we have points. Let's say I wanted to create some points. I can do that. This one's pretty handy. You can attach or detach a point to an object. Say I want this point B to be on my line I created. I can click on the point B and then on my line. And now B is fixed on that line, so I can't pull it off of there. The third one has a lot of the lines and segment tools. Here if I want to create a line through 2 points, maybe through C and A. We have that line there. I can also create segments between points, say C and B. And the cool thing is that if you notice these are blue, that means that they're independent. You can move them around freely. So for example, I can move C around, and then all of the objects that are dependent on that change accordingly, which is pretty handy, and that's what makes GeoGebra really awesome, is the visualizations you can create. Here we have some more line options. We can create perpendicular, parallel, angle bisectors, all sorts of stuff here. We can create polygons, regular polygons, rigid polygons. Say I wanted to create the triangle through these 2 points, and again, we can move these around and it will adjust accordingly. One of the tools that I found to be really helpful is the intersect two objects tool. I use this one a lot. It will create points at the intersection of 2 objects, pretty self-explanatory. So say that I wanted to intersect my 2 lines, I would have this tool selected, and then I would select the first line and then the second one, and now we have a new point. And you notice how it's dark, it's black, because it's a dependent point. It depends on where the intersection is for the 2 lines. So if you move around one of the lines, that intersection point is going to change with it. We have various circles and arc tools, semicircles, ellipses, hyperbola, parabola, conic sections, various angle tools, a lot of transformation tools, translation, rotation, reflection. Here's some stuff if you want to insert an image. Maybe you have like a bridge and you want to create a line modeling the bridge, or just some sort of real life situation. You can have an image in there and create functions that model that. You can also insert text if you want to explain something or have an equation shown. This is a collection of very, very advanced yet beneficial tools that GeoGebra has. You can take a lot of help from these to make really, really good GeoGebra files to show some visualizations of a lot of cool stuff. And you can watch my other tutorials. I'll probably go through at least all of these pretty in depth, and I use these a lot. So we won't really talk about those right now. Alright, so I'm going to go through just like a basic construction for you. So I'm going to make a new GeoGebra window. I don't want to save this one. So let's just do something simple. I'm going to construct a triangle and find one of the centers. So if you want to move this around, you can use these to move it around. You can zoom in and out with these, or as a shortcut, you can simply hold Shift, click, and drag to move it around, and then the mouse wheel zooms in and out. Alright, a lot of times I like to have the grid shown, so you can right-click in the graphics window somewhere. You can turn the axes on and off. I like to have the grid. It just is very helpful. You can change the ratio of the axes if you want. Zoom in again here. You can change some properties. You can change the background color. But alright, so I'm going to make a triangle. One thing I often find myself doing every time I create a GeoGebra file is I turn the labeling off for no new objects, because if you're creating a lot of points and segments, it kind of gets cluttered if there's letters everywhere. So I just turn the labeling to no new objects. And now I'm just going to create 3 points for my triangle. And then I'm going to create the polygon between those points by just clicking on the points with the polygon tool and then clicking back where I started. And now I have a triangle. I can move the whole triangle by clicking on the middle somewhere and it'll keep its shape, or I can adjust each vertex by clicking and dragging them. Alright, so let's find one of the centers. Let's bisect the angles. So I'm going to click the angle bisector tool, and now I'm going to click in order the 3 points, and so this is going to bisect that lower left one. Alright, and then I still have the angle bisector tool selected, so I can just click again without reselecting the tool. So we'll bisect that one, and then finally that one. It is, if you notice, it was very important the order in which I selected the points. The second point I selected is the angle that is being bisected. And so now, again, I can move things around and everything is going to adjust appropriately. The angles are still going to be bisected. So now, let's say I want to create the point where these intersect. So I'm going to use intersect two objects. I'm going to select that, and then I'm just going to pick two of the angle bisector lines. And now we have our intersection point. I often find myself at the very end of creating a GeoGebra file, I will make things look nice, change the colors. So let's say I want this point to be prominent. I can either select it in the graphics view or over here. It's point D in the algebra one. And then there's two ways we can do this. We could right click and go to object properties. I want to change it, let's say red, and I want to make it bigger. So here's the point size. You can kind of see how big it can get. So we'll make it 7. I can change the style if I want. Make it an X. Alright, and that'll be good. Another way to do it is, again, I can select the point, and then there's this little graphics, and then there's an arrow right here. If I click that, it brings down like a quick little menu for changing the color properties and the style properties. So here's the point size again, and styles, and the colors. Let's say I want it to be purple. Now I have a purple point. And so you can go through and make it look really nice.